3.
What's up, guys? On this week's show,
Captain Marvel First Look.
a new Halloween trailer,
And anime is bad for you?
plus
Dumb shit of the week.
all that and more on this episode.
Of One Giant Leap for Geeks.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared. And with me is my co-host, DJ Melly Mel.
Hey.
And this week I have a surprise. Well, not really a surprise, but
Dun, dun, dun.
right. An added bonus. This will be my TV. It's like, but wait, there's more. We actually have a new member to One Giant Leap for Geeks. Welcome, Benoit.
Welcome, Ben.
Hey, what's the surprise?
You.
You are the surprise. You're surprised
That's
that
a
you're
major
surprised.
letdown, guys. I apologize.
Right, that was anticlimactic. Oh well. Right, I know it's. But anyway,
I'm excited. I mean,
I
it
know.
started off as you in a closet, and
Yeah,
now then
pretty
it
much.
expanded to two of us, and we actually had a show, and now we got Ben coming on.
yeah, soon it'll just be like a whole round table of,
You
geeks
know,
and
I'd
shit.
be all right with that. We
Yeah.
could
So
have.
you
Go
came
ahead.
out of the closet, added her, and then I'm in the mix too.
Yes, actually.
What a hell of a three-way.
Yes, I know, right? No, it's funny because when I had announced, that I was making a podcast, I had been doing it for some time, but I didn't tell any of my friends or family. And then I said it on Facebook, and I'm like, I'm coming out of the closet in like all caps, and I'm like, no, literally, I am, because I record in my closet. And I'm sure about half of my family was like, I knew he was gay. I knew it. I've been saying it for years. I knew it. Confirmed.
Gay or not, you look fabulous.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. I try not very hard, but you know how it goes.
Well, I always think you look fabulous.
Well, thank you.
Not
So,
that fabulous.
I know, right? So we're actually too happy right now because I have to bring down the mood with something sad.
Uh-oh.
I know it's a sad day.
Let's kill the buzz.
Yeah, I know, right? We lost two celebrities this week. Burt Reynolds and Mac Miller. We're going to start off with Mac first. I'm getting this from TMZ. Mac Miller, he was found dead in one of the bedrooms of his home from an apparent overdose. And there's this in a doc made a few years ago. I'd rather be the corny white rapper than the drugged out mess who can't even get out of his house. Overdosing is just not cool. You don't go down in history because you overdose. You just die, which is really like
Very ironic.
right, some foreshadowing shit to his own death. And in a lot of his music too, he talks about dying prematurely and ODing and shit like that. So it's actually really sad that's the how
Makes
he
you wonder
ended
if
up.
that was just a front, like he had said that statement just as a front to kind of divert from whatever was going on in his life.
Possibly, it's
Well,
possible.
maybe he was on some Machiavelli type stuff and just knew it was coming.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that could be, too.
He's not really dead. He like faked his death. Him and Tupac are like on a
Chilling
beach.
on a beach.
Right, with fucking Elvis and
Mhm.
the real Paul McCartney, because
Mhm.
apparently this one's a clone or some shit. I don't know.
Heard
But
that
and-
somewhere.
go ahead.
Not that there's ever any good timing for something of that nature, but just recently, Demi Lovato as well, OD'd.
Yeah. Well,
Although
she's still
she-
alive, but
Yeah, she's still alive. Not Mac Miller though, and his ex, Ariana Grande, just recently had that issue at Aretha Franklin's.
mm-hmm.
With the priest or the
Yeah,
pastor
Yeah.
or whatever his technical title was.
Yeah.
The guy that got a handful of titty.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, it was love. Is we in the church? This is how we roll at the church. No, but they go on to say Miller has battled substance abuse issues for years, something that came up again in the wake of his breakup with Ariana Grande. The rapper wrecked his G-Wagon by wrapping it around a utility pole back in May and was arrested for DUI and a hit and run. He fled the scene, but cops say that he later confessed at his home he blew 2 times the legal limit. After his arrest, Ariana tweeted, "Please take care of yourself," and was clearly concerned about substance abuse. They go on to say after the breakup, Ariana made it clear his substance abuse had been a deal breaker in their 2-year relationship. Some people blamed Ariana for Mac's DUI, and she responded, "I am not a babysitter or a mother, and no woman should feel that they need to be. I have cared for him and tried to support his sobriety and prayed for his balance for years," she added. "Of course, I didn't share about how hard or scary it was while it was happening, but it was." And I feel really bad for Ariana Grande because, like you guys have brought up, between this, which a lot of people have been attacking her on social media because, you know, of him dying, like saying shit like, "Oh, well, if you would have been there for him, he wouldn't OD," and this, that, and the other. And it's like, come on, man, you can't put that shit on somebody. Like, she's not that man's keeper. Like, and what, she's supposed to be a slave to this relationship so he won't OD and die? It's like, what is that? Like, it's like those people who are in relationships and they're like, "Oh, if you leave me out, I'm going to hurt myself and shit." It's like, no, that shit's unhealthy as fuck.
It comes to a point when everybody has to be accountable for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But on that note of her getting a lot of shit for potentially being the straw that broke the camel's back on his substance abuse, it was really lose-lose for her, because just imagine had this still happened, or had it not happened to the point where he died, but he was still a heavy user with her. You know, she'd be knocked for even being with him, for being a druggie. It's a lose-lose.
Oh, yeah. They would have called her an enabler and all kind of shit. And it's like, "Oh, you didn't do enough for him and you were supposed to love him." And I made this joke earlier off mic. I honestly feel like the chick from Thinner, like, cursed Ariana Grande like a gypsy or somebody, because between that terrorist attack at her concert a few months back.
Oh, yeah, in London.
Yeah, the shit that happened with the pastor, and now this. I was like, man, somebody got it out for you. Like, they put some bad mojo in your life, because you got some, like, dark shit hanging over your head. Like, everywhere you go, something bad happens. It's like, I feel bad because, like you guys, you know, said, she's in a lose-lose situation no matter what she does. Either way,
right?
You know, she's catching shit, like with the whole thing at the people really didn't too much blame her for the concert thing, but I know, like, at Aretha's, you know, funeral, they're like, "Oh, well, she was wearing too small a dress," and all this other bullshit. And I'm like, God damn, like, don't let the girl catch a break, Jesus. But yeah, I wanted to just get that out there. You know, he was only 26 too. So I'm like, he was really young.
Younger than me.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah,
The man was a baby.
And in researching this as well, too, I actually listened to a lot of his songs because, I mean, I knew who he was and, you know, kind of knew about his music, but not to the degree that I went into to look up this story. And
sure.
I was like, he was actually pretty damn good. I was like, he wasn't a bad rapper. I mean, look, he was never going to be like some top of the charts type shit, but he was good for an indie rapper. He was pretty good. But anyway, so on to Burt. Burt Reynolds, he died too, and I'm just like, God damn, y'all falling like dominoes this week.
Well, see, we had a week where we didn't lose anybody.
Yeah,
you and I have joked previously. You know, if we mention anybody's name, then
they're gonna die.
they keel over. And we had a week where we didn't lose anybody, so Karma had to make up double this week. Yeah,
the Grim Reaper from the fucking Final Destination movies
right.
had to play catch up and shit. He was like, ah, damn, gotta get a twofer now. But getting this from Variety, says Burt Reynolds, one of Hollywood's most popular leading men during the 70s and early 80s, with such films as Deliverance, Smokey and the Bandit, The Longest Yard, and Semi-Tough, has died. His rep confirmed that he died Thursday in a Jupiter, Florida hospital. He was 82. They go on to say, in his colorful career, Reynolds secured more than his share of both good and bad press. He could be affable with the media, but at times downright hostile. Despite his many high-profile roles, the ones he is said to have turned down were even bigger. Now, this is crazy. I didn't even notice before I even, looked this up. It goes on to say he was offered the roles of James Bond, Han Solo, and the Richard Gere role in Pretty Woman, and the Jack Nicholson part in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now, He obviously turned down all those parts, but I was like, could you imagine Burt Reynolds could have been fucking Han Solo? Like, that would have been crazy as hell.
That would have been crazy.
You know, if you really want to go into the hypothetical, look at it this way. Harrison Ford wound up being Han Solo, and he wasn't even really an actor nor cast in that role. He was just at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, when he a waiter
how
or
his
some
career
shit?
trajectory would have never even began had Burt Reynolds taken that role.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, not only would that have changed that character, but yeah, we may had never even had heard the name Harrison Ford. If it hadn't been
Harrison
for that.
who?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars might not have been as big. There would probably have not been any of the Indiana Jones franchise.
Oh, no. Man, see now, okay, anybody that's listening that's good at Photoshop, can you just send me Photoshop pictures of Burt Reynolds as all these characters? I just want to see Burt Reynolds as Indiana Jones, Burt Reynolds. And real quick, the one that threw me off.
The Cuckoo's Nest.
No, how the fuck was he finna be James Bond? Like, they don't play that shit. Like, the British are very proud of James Bond. I'm shocked that they even consider letting an American play James Bond. I'm like, really?
Okay, I don't know if we can go there, because, I mean, Sean Connery was James Bond.
Yeah, but I mean, what, he's Scottish? I mean, at least he's from around that.
He's got some kind of an accent.
Yeah, I was like, they like ruled the Scots for some time. They're like honorary Brits, pretty much. They're like, we still probably got some kind of clause in some old documentation somewhere that still says we own y'all bitches, but, you know, we just don't abide by that no more. But yeah.
Well, hell, I mean, he didn't even play a Frenchman in the Highlander film.
Wait. Oh, shit.
Sean
Yeah,
Connery.
yeah, he does. Damn.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. I haven't seen Highlander in so fucking long. But
Well,
anyway.
no, he's Spanish. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
My credibility is shot.
Is he? I know he had a ponytail. That's I remember that much. But yeah, no, I didn't want to, you know, go through like their whole life history and shit. I just wanted to, you know, bring up the fact that they had, you know, passed unexpectedly, both of them, and just, you know, give a little, you know, shout out, you know, thoughts and prayers to the family. You know, it sucks losing somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, and real quick sidebar. In looking this up, Burt Reynolds was a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like they say he was
yeah.
hostile towards people.
Uh-huh.
I was watching a clip from The Tonight Show back when Jay Leno still hosted it. And the guy from fucking Double Dare, the host of that, was on one episode.
Mark somebody. Or
Yeah.
Mark Summers.
Yeah.
And him and Burt Reynolds like got into it on the show.
I believe it.
Like to the point where Burt Reynolds like threw his water in his lap, and then like they were like throwing water back and forth at each other, and then I guess Jay, to try to like, you know, diffuse the situation, was like, oh, we're gonna have a pie fight, and had them like stand back to back with pies, and Burt Reynolds hit him in the face with that pie so hard.
Oh, yeah.
I swear he about cold cocked his ass. He was trying to knock him the fuck out. It wasn't just he threw the pie at him, like he followed through with the fucking pie. It was hilarious.
You know what? I saw that now that you mentioned that.
Oh man, kids, if you haven't seen this clip, go to YouTube, look up Burt Reynolds pie in the face or whatever, Jay Leno Tonight Show, you'll find it. Like, it is gold. Like, I honestly feel like they had a fist fight in the parking lot after that episode.
Oh, I'm sure.
So rest in peace, Turd Ferguson.
Yes, Turd Ferguson, rest in peace. Yes.
To the lighter side of things.
Right. As we go to talk about Michael Myers stabbing the shit out of people. So
guess who's not dead? Michael Myers.
There you go.
Yeah, so they released another trailer for the Halloween movie, and I mean, if you are a fanboy for the original Halloween movie, even the second one, then you should be very, very happy with what they showed in this trailer. Like, they pretty much, there are so many nods and Easter eggs to the original Halloween movie, like all the way down to like the kids that run into him at the very beginning of the trailer, and are, you know, like the music, the hammer, like, okay.
I would say that music was dope.
Yeah, in Halloween 2, they show him, he kills a woman in her house and he steals the butcher knife, and then he goes after Laurie at the hospital and shit in the second one. They pretty much shot for shot recreated that in this. So it's almost like they're ignoring Halloween 2 and the sequels after that, but they're kind of merging them into this sequel. So it's like that continuity is gone, but there's a lot of Easter eggs and nods to it. Like, there's a kid that walks by one shot and he's carrying a fucking boombox like they do in the original Halloween.
Right.
Fucking, there's just, you can tell that Danny McBride.
There you go.
I'm like, not Danny Boyle. That dude is no, definitely not Danny McBride. No, you can tell that they have a reverence for the Halloween movies, and that they actually took a lot of time and care into trying to make this right. Because after Rob Zombie, a lot of people kind of wrote the Halloween movies off. And the first Rob Zombie one was okay. That second one, though, I was just
that second one was, oh, hell no.
He went full Rob Zombie, like The Hills Have Eyes Rob Zombie, and it was just like, okay, like, I feel like that whole movie was just like a fucking, like, fever cocaine dream. like, it is so weird. But anyway, I am very pleased with what I've seen so far. It doesn't seem to be relying too much on jump scares. Mm-hmm. It's more atmospheric and like getting back to the roots of like the killer stalking his prey as opposed to like, boo, some scary shit jumped out.
Boo, jump into my knife here.
Yeah, it's not a matter of shock value. It's more suspenseful, and despite being kind of a over-the-top, somewhat horror film, it is still plausible.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and like you said, I'll give you that it does look like they might be kind of doing some over the top shit, because there is a part where it looks like he turns a cop's head into a jack-o'-lantern at one point, because like the guy opens the police car and there's like a candle in his mouth and his eyes and like shit are all carved out, and I'm like, okay, like I don't really see where you would have had the time to did that, Michael. Like it's like you're out like murdering people. You have one night to get this done, and it's like I'm just gonna sit here and make a jack-o'-lantern out of this fucking dude's head. Like,
yeah, he done perfected it. He just popped
all
it in
work
and
no play makes Michael a boring guy.
Yeah, that's true. I
mean, did you check out that cache of guns?
I was so impressed with that.
I know, right?
Is this movie sponsored by the NRA or what? Jesus Christ!
Right. Man, like she is full on like Sarah Connor from the Terminator. Like she is not bullshitting.
It's funny that you said Sarah Connor, because I was telling Ty about the trailer today after he got out of practice, and he's like, so basically she went all Resident Evil on their ass, and I said, okay, yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison.
And I mean, I know that Sarah Connor wasn't in Resident Evil, but he at least had the right time era.
Sure.
So I gave him kudos.
This is not the same Jamie Lee Curtis as in the Activia commercials.
No.
Right.
No constipation there. She can be just shitting bullets all over his ass. I look forward to watching that.
Oh my God. Between like, because I mean, I've only seen Jamie Lee Curtis in like a handful of things. Like obviously the Halloween movies. The one that pretty much everybody has seen, fucking True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where she's in a thong and shit, and she does like the dance, and I was like, okay, Jamie, I see you. Like I didn't know you was working it like that, but I see you. But
either that or Freaky Friday, everybody remembers her for that with Lindsay Lohan.
No, I think of her.
Everybody remembers that.
Okay.
From the My Girl film.
My Girl, yeah.
Oh shit, yeah, damn, yeah. I need to go back and watch some Jamie Lee Curtis movies, apparently. I need to step my Jamie Lee Curtis game up. But just from this, though, that is one of the things that bothers me. I'm glad you brought that up about the guns. I'm like, if we're saying that Halloween 2 through whatever never happened and she's not related to Michael or anything else, I do kind of have a hard time believing that one night, 40 years ago or whatever, that has traumatized her to the point where she's been waiting for decades for him to come back, and she has this whole arsenal and a panic room and all this other kind of shit set up. I'm like, you seem a little crazy. I'm just saying, like I completely understand why the town probably thinks you're a nut, because, he only killed 3 people. It wasn't like, because like I said, if we're not following the continuity of the rest of the movies, he's not this mythical, unkillable creature that, just has just a mountain of bodies in his wake.
Serial killer.
Yeah, it was just like, well, it was just this one thing. Like, you could probably kind of rest easy, not, assuming like, oh, he's coming back, I'll just know it. It's like, based off what? Like, he's never come back. There's only been the one movie in this continuity.
Maybe it explains more than that.
I hope so.
Maybe they only pick out certain parts for the trailer, so maybe they kind of explain away some of that.
I hope so, because there is Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I hope there's more explanation in the film. It's almost like I'm kind of ambivalent about it. Like, one, I kind of want the film to be like the first 10 minutes, whomever that was in the trailers, like shows Michael the mask or whatever, and then shit starts popping off. Right. But at the same time, I almost want this film to be more suspenseful, where like the first half, it's just us getting reacquainted with her character and the past from the first Halloween film. because I don't want to have to go watch that film again before seeing this in the theater to, like, get a refresher on it.
Right.
That's fair. That's fair. I think. Go ahead.
Oh, just because especially this movie came out, like, the original Halloween came out in, like, 79-ish? Let's be real.
Something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The movie is technically, the original is technically older than all of us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine, the teenagers or the kids who want to see this for a scary film. They may have absolutely no idea what this is.
Yeah.
So I think if this is going to be technically a sequel to the original, they need, like you said, they have a lot of, like, shout outs, Easter eggs hidden for other movies in the franchise that aren't necessarily canon at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie needs to have enough of an explanation or enough divulging into the previous film to make us really understand why Jamie Lee Curtis's character has now got, PTSD.
Yeah.
78.
Because as far as we're concerned...
Yeah, 78. Yeah, you're
78?
really close.
Yeah.
Okay. I overbid by a year.
Yeah, you were close.
But...
I'm sorry.
We've all pretty much got the impression that she looks kind of nutso in the trailer.
Yeah,
we need to know why. They need to establish why that is, without us having to watch the original film to be able to, come up with our own conclusions as to why she is the way she is.
Yeah, because I know that in that in the trailer, there's a shot where, like, I'm pretty sure it's her daughter that she's talking to, and she's like, "Oh, you don't even have a security system in your house, and this, that, and the other." And she's like, "You need to calm down, this, that, and the other." So it kind of seems like she, has had a life beyond, obviously, the original movie, but she's always dealt with this. Like, that was a good way to put it, like PTSD from the experience that she had on that night 40 years ago, and that kind of everybody in her life is just like, oh, she's the crazy cat lady with a bunch of guns and shit, like, don't mind her. And then when shit finally hits the fan, now she can be vindicated. Like, yes, look at, I told you this would happen and yada, yada. Like, I'm really just happy that they have taken the time to really flesh this out and really, give a lot of nods to the original movie. And, they even brought the actor back who played Michael Myers in the original Halloween. So it's like they're trying to do everything they can to please, the original movie fanboys and people who were pissed off at the Rob Zombie movies. So I'm like, I like this, and I'm just curious if this does well. And even if it doesn't, I'm curious if they're going to leave a back door open to make more of these. I mean, obviously, Jamie Lee Curtis may not necessarily be in another one after this, but I'm curious if they're going to just be done with Michael and kill him off, quote unquote, or will they find a way to bring him back and then, this is a way to kind of reboot the franchise in a way.
Who knows? Hopefully it's better than a lot of other, like, supernatural type thrillers. Hopefully this is somewhat grounded in reality where he actually is human and not, immortal. Like, he can be taken down with enough firepower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because the original Halloween, the way it's set up, he's shot and he falls off the balcony of the house, and, you assume he's dead.
Right.
It's not until the second one where it's like, oh, his body's gone and shit, and it's like, oh, where did he go? And it's like, oh, well, So, I mean, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I mean, they'll probably play it like that where it's like, we'll kill him, and then we'll wait to see how audiences react, and if there's a desire to make another one, then we'll be like, oh, he just kind of...
Just kidding!
Yeah. Like, okay, do you remember Halloween H2O?
That's what I was just looking into. I remember hearing about it, but I never saw the H2O.
I saw that in theaters. So how that one went down was at the end of that one, Jamie Lee Curtis rams a truck into Michael, and he's like pinned between the truck and the tree. Mm-hmm. And then she gets out and she takes an axe and cuts his fucking head off.
Oh,
right.
Nice.
So in that one, it was like finality, like he is dead. But then Halloween Resurrection came out, and you find out at the beginning of that one that right before, because how it was is it was a corner van, and Michael was in a body bag in the back, and she steals the corner van after the police show up because she's like, no, he's not dead. I have to make sure he's dead.
Right.
This shit just keeps happening. I'm going to put an end to this. So that's how she ends up driving him into the tree and all that. Mm-hmm. But I guess in between that, at some point, Michael kills the coroner, puts the mask on him, and then is just hiding in the bushes. So she actually beheads an innocent man.
The corner.
Yeah, because he like breaks his voice box so he can't talk.
Right.
because Michael's like reaching out to her and then she chops his head off. So I just hope they don't pull some shit like that where it's like, oh, we killed him, but it's like, oh, Michael just put the mask on some other guy and he's just still wandering the streets.
Psych.
Yeah, which
We're gonna psych out for another 10 movies.
Which so much time has passed with this one. No, I'm like, even if they did decide to make more, it's like Michael's like 60 some odd years old at this point. It's like, how much longer can you drag this shit out?
Right.
If they're not gonna go the supernatural, unkillable, Jason type route. But we'll see. I'm excited for it either way. I love the Halloween movies. Like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are like my two favorite slasher, serial killers of all time. Freddy, he's all right, but Michael and Jason are my favorites by far.
I like Chucky. Chucky's always been my favorite.
Chucky's all right. He's all right.
Like
Chucky is great for the sake of if you've ever seen any doll that just looks creepy.
I know, right?
There you go.
Right.
My
There you
mom. My mom used to collect dolls when I was younger, and she had like 300 of them. And I always told her, I said, you need to put them things away. They're creepy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even allowed to watch Chucky as a kid. I was very sheltered, but those stupid dolls were super creepy.
No, that's good parenting, I would say. You shouldn't have been watching Chucky as a kid. It's like, no, I know better because your ass will never sleep in your fucking bed again. Like, hell no. No.
Well,
I'll let you watch this shit.
She's
I'm
cleaning
gonna
out
pay
her
for
closet
it.
the other day, and she's like, oh, well, you get to get all of my dolls. I said, the fuck I do.
It's like, no, thanks, I'm good. Appreciate the offer, but
I
I'm
said,
gonna go ahead
you
and
better
pass.
find a place for them before you die off, because if not, they're ending up at the Goodwill. I don't want
Jesus,
them
before
bastards.
you die off. God damn.
No, don't even give them away. Burn them.
Yeah.
Double pump, burn them.
Right, 2 to the head and then burn them.
It's like, I swear to God, back to those old Furbies from the late 90s, you could pull the batteries out.
Dude.
Them bitches, they would still talk to you in tongues. It was creepy as shit.
I had one
Tongues.
that got ran over by a truck. I swear to God, my grandma bought us matching Furbies so that they would talk to each other. And she was living in the basement, and we were living in the upstairs bedrooms, and they wouldn't shut up. So we pulled the batteries out of them. Mine kept talking, so I threw it out in the road. It got run over by a big semi-truck. The thing was still talking. I said, oh no, we need to get like a holy man or something in here, because I've seen Chucky at that point, and I don't want these stupid Furbies coming back.
It's like, I am hungry. And like, nope, kill it with fire.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
it's crazy that you had said that, Ben, because people don't believe me. They're like, oh yeah, okay, you've watched one too many movies. I'm like, no, for real.
No, I believe.
It's like, no,
Do you believe her, listeners?
right. Right, or is she crazy as shit?
Send us your creepy ass experiences.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I was like, what?
What toy haunted your childhood?
Right, it's like my G.I. Joe with Kung Fu grip. That son of a bitch. I swear, I would always have him in a toy box, and I'd wake up and he'd be at the end of the bed with his little hand out and shit. Like, no.
Oh, craziness.
But yeah.
I'm excited for the new Halloween movie, and I don't even like slasher movies, so...
Yeah, I think they're going to have a pretty high body count in this one compared to the first one.
Let's just hope that it's not going to be one big cash grab and it's actually good.
Yeah.
I hope so. I have faith in what I've seen so far. Because like I said, they've paid attention to details that shit I forgot were even in the movie. And watching the trailer, I was like, God damn, like they did that too. I was like, okay. Like, I see you, Danny McBride. I see you. Apparently, Russia does not like anime. I'm not really sure why. Well, Russia doesn't like a whole lot of shit. Shots fired at any Russian listeners. Sorry. But so there's been, I guess, talk about this for a few years, and I guess they're finally starting to get some headway moving on this, but they're trying to make a ban of anime in Russia just altogether, like not, for certain ages or something like that, just an outright ban completely.
Wow, that's gonna kind of hit the anime circuit a little hard.
I would think so. I'm like, I would be curious to see what this does to the industry after that, but
sure.
I'm getting a story from AnimeMojo.com. It says, now the following statement comes from, I'm gonna fuck this name up, so just be prepared. Yelena Ivanova, I think. She is a member of the Center for Protecting Children Against Online Threats. which I don't know how this relates to anime, but sure. She says, they make a lot of quality cartoons in Japan. They're not dangerous if you don't watch them all day. It's another thing entirely if the characters are teenagers, like their viewers, who are also homosexuals, who smoke and drink and even cut their veins. Of course, the root of the problem here is much deeper than cartoons, but they're tailored specifically for these types of children.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, being gay is just as bad as cutting your veins and smoking and drinking as a minor.
You caught that correlation she made there. Huh? Mm-hmm.
I have big issues with that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see you wanting to limit your kids' exposure to cutting your veins. Sure, I'd like to limit my kids' exposure to that.
Right.
Any reasonable person would.
Mm-hmm.
Smoking and drinking, okay, I can see that because, you want your kids to stay focused and not destroy their brain cells before they're developed.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that they always listen, but
fair.
The thing is there, the intention. Okay.
Yeah.
Honorable intention there. But how are you going to say that being a gay kid and having a gay cartoon that can relate to you is as bad as any of those three things?
Yeah.
Well, Russia is notorious for being anti-homosexual. It's actually illegal there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have issues, like bad issues with that kind of shit. And I mean, it's fucked up because with anything, like you said, any consumption of media that you are not, I don't want to say restricted, but are not doing within reason is not good for anybody. You know, too many video games, too many movies, too much anime, sure. But to try and make it like this is influencing them more so than other things. It's like, well, wouldn't this apply to action movies and video games and shit like that? Which we've gone down that rabbit hole in argument a few times on the show. But it just bothers me that they're singling out this. And I don't know, too. I think this is kind of just because the way our relationship is with Russia right now. I think they're kind of just doing this to kind of be a way to fuck with the Japanese to a certain degree because they are one of our allies and shit. Which is, crazy because they attacked us and we nuked the shit out of them and now we're best friends.
Well, you got two kids that get in a fight at school and punch them in the face. Y'all get along afterwards.
Sure, but
at least that's what I'm told.
That's assuming you don't then go and blow his house up twice and then you become friends afterwards and it's like, hey, it's all good, tit for tat. But I mean, I don't know, like I feel bad because I love anime. I'm a big anime fan and I don't there's nothing that I've ever watched. I've watched Berserk, Death Note, Dragon Ball Z, Street Fighter anime movies and shit. Just anything that you can think of under the sun. And they all have varying degrees of violence and sex and shit like that. I'm like, it's funny because I love how they single out the homosexuality, but the fan service, that's totally fine. Like, they can have an anime character with, like, triple G tits and, like, she's always falling and you see up her skirt and it's like, oh, no, and shit like that. That's totally fine. But it's like, the gays, that's what we got to worry about. We can't be having these kids exposed to this homosexuality in anime.
Yeah, they'd almost rather the chick with the big tits and half naked and
yeah. Which I mean,
I guess it would kind of be counterproductive if they had some lesbians, but whatever.
Sure.
Just don't get rid of my tentacles, please.
Right. As long as I can maintain the tentacle hentai porn, then I'm good. Everything else, you can, they can take it. No. I mean, it's just funny to me because there are a lot of things in anime that you can knock it for. Like, I feel the over-sexualization of women is fucked up in anime. I feel how they take advantage of women in a lot of anime and make them these helpless, hapless characters who just have to be saved by someone. Right. You could knock it for that. You can knock it for, sexualizing young girls or characters that are drawn to look like they are young and been put in sexual situations. You can criticize it for that all day long and I would totally be like, you have a case.
Right.
But the shit that they're pointing out, I'm like, there's a lot of anime out there. I haven't seen everything, obviously, but I'm
Sure.
like, what anime are you exactly referring to when it's like the gays are in it? Like, what anime is this? I mean, a lot of times,
Well, I have some friends that watch anime hardcore,
sure,
and they've posted things on Facebook, and I'm like, well, okay, that's directed at kids. Like, I mean, I get it. I've seen where there's very intense homosexual plot lines. However, that being said, I'm not gonna chastise people for, oh my god, we can't show gay people to our kids.
yeah, that's fucking stupid. I'm like, look, if
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, it seems kind of ironic to me. Mind you, I'm not the most knowledgeable of Japanese culture. And of course, us being Americans are kind of ethnocentric to a degree. We're not the most worldly as it pertains to like news of other countries. But it seems like, from what I've experienced, is between, I don't watch a lot of anime, but I totally get into like Japanese wrestling, Japanese comedy, things of that nature.
Mhm.
And it seems like the issues that this article from Russia brings up about what could be negatively inspiring kids via anime, I don't think Japan is anything like the anime itself. If anything, I think they're more of a prude, modest country than what this article would even give them credit for.
Oh yeah, no, the anime is kind of like an outlet for a lot of the repressed shit that, because I mean, like, I know the birth rate in Japan is really fucked up right now because they have a lot of issues with people communicating socially, dating, sexual relationships and
Sure.
shit. That's kind of why anime is such a big thing over there to a degree. It's like an outlet to express all that shit, because there is so much sex and shit. And I mean, look, they have fucking, okay, I love the Japanese, but they have like vending machines with like used panties and shit in it. They're into some kind of weird shit sometimes, but they are really repressed in their ways. I mean,
Sure.
their culture is very, like Ben said, modest and, I don't want to keep saying repressed, but just subdued, I guess, is a better word to say. And anime and like in their comedy and shit is like kind of an outlet for the more outrageous, outlandish shit, but they're all about honor and respect and modesty and shit like that. So yeah, it's like this is kind of like the outlier in their culture more so than the norm.
Right.
But
Definitely, they are more of a formal and structured society than we are.
oh hell yeah.
And I think maybe that dichotomy might be some of the reason why anime gets kind of a bad rep, especially for people that don't actually know anything about Japanese culture. They just see cartoons or commercials that can be kind of surrealist and absurd and just automatically have like a negative connotation to that. But I think it's funny for the most part. And at the end of the day, they seem to show the utmost respect to each other and other cultures from what I've noticed.
Oh yeah.
From my studies.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, I'm not the most knowledgeable of Japan.
No. That's why I got so angry when fucking Logan Paul went over there and acted like a dumbass and shit. Because I'm like, you are the epitome of what other cultures and shit call like ugly Americans. Not like ugly as an appearance, but in attitude and personality.
Right.
It's like that shit was so disrespectful, even by our standards. And I'm sure to them, they were probably like, he was like a Godzilla, probably to them. Like, he was just terrorizing the whole goddamn of Tokyo. And they were just like, please get this dumb son of a bitch out of here.
Yeah, he was the epitome of the spoiled, entitled, got fame too young and refused to grow up and mature attitude that a lot of us Americans get a bad rap for. Like, not just to not just necessarily Japan, but other countries view us in the same light that they might see Logan Paul, and God forbid we do not want him to be an ambassador. But I kind of understand how they get that perspective of he's the only thing they're really experienced with dealing.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of fucking douchebag Logan Paul, Chris D'Elia lit his ass up on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
If you've not seen that, look that up.
No, I didn't catch it. What happened?
Oh my goodness! They had a little bit of a Twitter burn go back and forth for a while, and Chris lit his ass up. It was great.
I gotta find that later.
You want to pull that up real quick?
Nah.
You could.
Nah, we'll get to it. Here. How about this? We will get to that one next week. So then you guys got something to look forward to. I got a cliffhanger to keep you coming back for more, I guess, so to speak.
Don't I always come back for more though?
Well, yeah. Well, you have to come back, but
Jeez, damn, make it sound like I'm old or something. Be like, you have to do this.
Right.
I know I'm new here to the show, but there's something I want to do really quick if I can get your permission.
Sure.
I think it'll be a really good transition. Speaking of Logan Paul, it's time for the dumb shit of the week.
That is true.
All right.
It's that time again for America's #1 show, Dumb Shit of the Week. That's right. Dumb Shit of the Week is a show where you submit your findings of dumb shit, and we talk about it. Want your submission on the show? Find us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks, or you can email us at officialOGLFG@gmail.com. Now here's your host, DJ Melly Mel.
Thank you. Okay, so as you may know, recently we've started having themes for Dumb Shit of the Week. And this week's theme is buyer's remorse. We're going to jump into the first story, and it says, well, that was quick. This is from Christian and Damon's Amazing Nerd Show on Twitter, and you can find them at Amazing Nerd Show. It was 1 week before WrestleMania, and I bought the latest WWE 2K game that year at full price while on a whim. Well, WrestleMania weekend comes, and they sell the game like 50-75% off with all of the DLC for free. Hashtag buyer's remorse. Okay. As somebody who watches WrestleMania, watches, wrestling regularly, plays the 2K games, why would you buy it at full price? I get trying to get like the extra download characters and stuff.
Sure.
Because a lot of times they have some cool ones. But 9 times out of 10, there are cheat codes floating around the internet that once you've bought the game, somebody that's got the downloaded character, they spent the full price, they can send you the character.
That's fair. I kind of understand where they're coming from, though, because it's kind of like I bit the bullet and I fucking went and I got a PS4 and I got Spider-Man.
Okay.
So
I wondered how long it would take you to go buy that
about
game.
like 2 days.
Yeah.
It was out for like 2 days and I was like, okay, I got to get it. Which I'm glad that I did, because quick sidebar, I went into fucking Walmart and there was this Asian guy that went in there and he was trying to buy all 6 of the fucking PS4s that they had, the limited edition like Spider-Man themed ones.
Oh, hell no.
And I was like, this son of a bitch is finna buy this shit and then go resell it on eBay, because you cannot get these PS4s, because these are like themed for the Spider-Man game. They're like all red with a big white spider emblem on it. And like they're going on fucking eBay for like $600-700 and shit. I got it for like $399 plus like the insurance or some shit.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, they are going like quick.
Did they let him buy?
No, they let him buy 2.
Okay.
And then I bought one, and I told the guy at Electronics, I was like, dude, I will take that shit out of his card if you give him all 6 of these fucking PlayStations. I want one.
Right.
I'm like standing here watching like the exchange back and forth, and I'm like, if he let this motherfucker buy all these and he see me standing here, I'm gonna flip my shit today.
Right.
But anyway, to their thing. Yeah, I get it too, because sometimes when you get a game brand new, there's like access codes for like other content and shit, not necessarily DLC shit, but like, you can get a free month of whatever, or season pass or some shit. So it's like, I get it. If you wait too long, that shit expires and then like the hype dies down and you don't want to jump in to something. At least I don't necessarily like playing something once it's been so far past its relevancy, where it's just like, well, fuck, by the time you get this one, the next one's going to be fucking coming out. So it's like, you're always behind. So yeah, I kind of get where he's coming from.
I don't know. For me, I just like to play them as they come, buying the game like right as soon as it comes out, or pre-ordering it or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't fuck with pre-orders.
Oh, Tyler did one year. His niece wanted NBA 2K, 16 or 17 or something like that. and he pre-ordered that bitch. It was $75.
Nope.
And I just looked at him and I said, "You just spent $75 on a video game."
Well, 60 is standard. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but
unless it's something in like limited supply, like the old NES classics, or you have some content which is only available to you via pre-order, never buy anything right away, especially when you don't know how good of a quality game it's going to be.
Yeah, I usually wait for reviews. That was kind of like with me and Spider-Man. It was like, okay, it got a good Metacritic score. Okay, now I'll go get it.
Oh, so
I just had to
waited
make sure.
a week, not 2 days.
Yeah. One
a few extra days.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I think they had the review up before. I think the review went up like the day it came out. So.
All them people got the pre-release.
Yep. They got like the review copy, like go get it early and shit, so they can get, especially for games too, because you gotta sink a few hours into that shit to give it a good review and be a fair review. So it's like, they need some prep time. It's not like a movie where it's like, you got 2 hours, give us your thoughts and go.
Right.
But anyhow.
Yeah, but look at a lot of modern games too that need to be patched in like the first
day
month.
one patches and shit. Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah, I don't.
Now, plus the second you buy that game and own it, suddenly its value drops. So if it's shit, GameStop's going to give you like $5 for it.
Right. GameStop gives you $5 for the good games. You get the shitty games, and you're like, "Oh, I see that you've only played this once, not a scratch. $3.50."
Oh.
Fuck.
They turn around and sell it used for $55, or in some cases, they've actually claimed it was new again.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. It's been refurbished. It's like, bitch, just because you put it in a disc cleaner don't mean that you
You rubbed it on your shirt and went, it's refurbished.
Right. He like blew it on it and like rubbed it in his shirt. He's like, good as new. Look at that.
Yep. I even got some cellophane in the back. We can rewrap this shit.
Yeah.
You ran it over with a car and it was still talking.
Yep, you got it. I'm telling you.
Good callback.
Yep. Well, anyways, moving on to the next submission, we have "I Don't Want It Anymore" from Carlos Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find him on Twitter at KARLOUSM.
And real quick, before you do this one, Carlos Miller is actually a comedian who is on Wildin' Out, I think. Yeah. So, but go ahead. So I saw this one. I stole this from him.
Well,
I was gonna say he wouldn't like. I love your show. This and the other. I don't want to.
Hey,
misrepresent what happened.
Okay.
Okay, Carlos Mencia.
Right.
All right. Well, Carlos says he's got buyer's remorse. Kim Kardashian says that she doesn't like having a big butt anymore. I cry about it on the daily.
This made me sad when I saw it.
Okay. Kim Kardashian does not enjoy her big booty anymore. The fuck? There is no pleasing this woman, is there?
I call bullshit.
She wanted the big booty. Now she doesn't want the big booty. I mean, just stick with what you got and go with it.
I call bullshit. I'm like, you are, that is your most
Didn't she pay
recognizable
like hundreds of thousands of dollars for asset?
Yeah, that's why I said it that way. That's her most valuable
for that asset.
I know
something about butt implants or something.
She may have implants. I'm not 100% sure. I think her ass is insured though as well.
Yes,
I know J-Lo insured her ass. But
I
think
have
Kim
heard about
Nicki Minaj, to my knowledge, is the only celebrity who I know has had ass implants.
Okay. So Kim's is just insured.
Yeah.
I knew that it was insured, but I didn't know.
But her ass is the only reason why she's famous.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I'm like, look.
I mean, literally, I got to give her props, though. I mean, she became famous by having sex with Ray J, who's barely a D-list celebrity.
Right, I'm like...
She blew up.
Right, I'm like, Ray J will forever be known as Moesha's brother. and she parlayed an entire career off a, grainy, really shitty celebrity sex tape with him. I've seen much better celebrity sex tapes.
Mm-hmm.
I am not impressed by no means at that sex tape. Everybody's all about it. And I'm like, it's not that good.
I almost died at a Ray J concert. Where's my famosity?
Right,
hell yeah. See,
Fameacity.
There you go. Gotta tap into some of that Kim Kardashian ass.
Yeah, man. And it's like she has the what is it? The picture that broke the internet where she's on that cover of that magazine and she has like a champagne bottle on her, or a champagne glass on her ass, and she's popping a cork to a bottle and it's like spraying into her ass.
There are so many memes for that.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered where that came from. I'm not a Kim Kardashian fan. We're going to stop the press right here.
I know, right?
DJ Melly Mel does not like Kim Kardashian. I don't know anything about her other than her dad is now Caitlyn Jenner, so and she's got like 4 or 5 sisters.
Yep. All just as vapid and soulless.
That's probably why I don't know anything about them. But she's got this ass, and then I've seen this meme with the champagne bottle, and I was like, okay, there's got to be something behind this.
Yeah, her ass.
Apparently.
Ass so fat you can see it from the front until she decides to get rid of it.
I know. And I was like, you know what? Because this happened on the show. She was like talking to her sister, and she made a comment about how her bigger butt looked when she was sitting down or whatever. And, you know, they were like, oh, that's not nice. She was like, oh, you know, Kim loves her butt. And she was like, actually, you know, I hate it and this, that, and the other. I cry about it every day. I'm like, really? I'm like, have you seen her Instagram? She has so many pictures of her in a thong or getting out the shower or some shit. And I'm like, yeah, you hate your ass so much. It has brought you all this fame and wealth and shit. And it's just so terrible. Look at all this ass. Like, now get it. I get it. Maybe she has a hard time buying jeans and shit.
Sure.
But it's like, hey, if that's your
Kim
biggest
Kardashian,
downfall.
she can have them handmade.
Right. I'm like, if that's your biggest downfall of having a big booty, I'll take it. Look, if I would take her ass, if I could parlay a career out of that shit, I'd have Kim Kardashian's ass today.
Conspiracy theory here, guys. Peep this. Kim does not want to get rid of her ass.
No.
Kanye does because it's overshadowing him.
Literally.
It's about the only thing that can.
Pretty much, right. His ego and her ass cannot occupy the same space. It's like matter and
exactly.
antimatter.
He's like, slavery was a choice, and so is liposuction.
Oh my god.
Good. That was good. Oh man. Man, I forgot all about that shit. Kanye. Good lord, poor Kanye.
No,
anyway.
Not poor Kanye.
No, I know. I'm like he's
he's
married to Kim Kardashian and he's a probably billionaire.
You know, I'm gonna do like all these white people been doing to Nike. I'm gonna burn his CD right now.
You know what? I was a step behind you on that. I didn't even buy the CD, so there we go.
The only good Kanye's brought into my life was learning about Lupe Fiasco.
There you go.
That's fair.
Yeah. So the final submission actually is from yours truly, and you can find me on Twitter at Froggy Beaver. My sister-in-law, one of my sister-in-laws, I have several, and it's easier to call them my sister-in-law than explain the whole spiel here. She had a tendency to stay up multiple days in a row. And so one of the times she was on a binge where she was stayed up 3 days straight. On this third day, she's, you get kind of groggy and tweaky when you haven't slept for 3 days. So she's sitting there, and those as seen on TV commercials. She decided that she was going to buy a whole bunch of this as seen on TV shit. I think it was the, well, there was one time she bought those earwax pens where it's like looks like a screw on the end of it, and you like dig into your ear with this shit. Yeah. And
it's like a fucking cork opener.
Yeah,
and shit.
Yeah. It looks like a corkscrew that you put in your ear, and it's supposed to dig out the wax. So she bought 4 of those, and then she bought 4 of the earwax vacuums, and then
How many ears does she have?
I know, right?
Well, she's got her 2, and then she's got 3 kids with a set each. So, I guess she was figuring everybody needed their own little.
You just put it up with the
ear cleaning system.
Yeah.
And then she decides that she's gonna buy those straps that you wrap around big, heavy pieces of furniture so that you can lift the
like
furniture.
ratchet straps and shit.
No, it's a back brace that has like 6 straps that come out of it, and you wrap the straps around this big piece of furniture, and you can move furniture by yourself. Essentially, they're extra supports. Now, my sister-in-law is probably 95 pounds soaking wet, 4'11", so she's tiny. She doesn't move furniture. There was no reason for her to buy that many of those furniture things. And she bought all this stuff and then, of course, passed out because she'd been up for 3 days. Woke up the next morning, or I guess a day and a half later, and then all the stuff came fairly shortly after that. And she's like, well, who the hell bought all this shit? And then she's checking her account, and she's like, thinking one of the kids got a hold of her credit card or something. No. She had bought it all on this as seen on TV. So she's trying to factor out money for the rest of the month. Didn't have enough for her expenses.
It's like all sales are final.
Yep.
You can't return none of this bullshit. It's like, thank you for watching the Home Shopping Network. Goodbye.
Right. Yeah, I don't.
No, that's fucked up because I've never been one to be like, act now, you know, and while supplies last,
you
like,
buy one now and you get 3 free.
Yeah, it's like, I see that shit on TV, and I'm always thinking, like, yeah, that could be useful, but that would require me to do something outside of my normal habits that I don't normally do. Like when they have shit like, oh, you know, this peels and, you know, it'll take the core out of apples and all this shit. And it's like, I barely eat apples. Why would I fucking buy this shit? Like, all right.
Here's an idea. Just eat around the core.
Like
most normal people.
Right. Like I saw a thing recently where it was basically like a basting tray.
Okay.
Where, like, you know, you season your food and shit like that. So instead of like doing it on a plate or a cutting board, it was just like trays where you would put the meat in and then season it and baste it or whatever. And I'm just like, why? Like, there's a kit for that? Just like,
why do I
need
a particular dish?
Thank you. I'm like, that's just more shit for me to have to wash.
Right.
Like, no, I'm good.
Throw your meat in a big bowl and marinate it like that.
Yeah, or like the ones like the slap chop and all that kind of shit. It's like, why?
Well, actually, I did find one good item. Have you guys ever heard of Flex Seal?
Yes. Yes, I have.
No, what's that?
I actually have that. And I've used it. See, I run a house, and I have a plastic tub that began to crack because whoever put it in did not put anything in between that and the underboard.
Oh, lovely.
So there were cracks, and I did not want any like water leaking under there and rotting and getting black mold. So I use Flex Seal, and that shit works. It looks weird.
Now, did you
work.
use the one in the can, or did you use like the tape? The Flex Seal.
I use the actual can. It's like
can.
A paint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've always wondered about that stuff. That's the commercial where the guy cuts the boat in half and then
okay.
Oh, yep. And then he just like takes a knife and gets all Michael Myers on a bucket.
He does.
Yeah.
And then they like stick the Flex Seal in there. I've wondered about that. My boyfriend actually got 2 rolls of the Flex Seal tape as a Christmas gift last year. And they're both still wrapped in the plastic. We have not used them yet. He looked at the gift and he's like, "Thank you." I guess his face was priceless. And I looked at him and I said, "What are we gonna do with this shit?" He's like, "I don't know. I don't even know if it works."
Like, we're gonna bond something together. Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how effective that'll be, but the actual like paint sealant works. So maybe the tape's just as good.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
That sounds like some videotape for YouTube shit, right?
There you go.
Well, that's good that the Flex Seal stuff actually works.
Yeah.
So kudos to that.
Poor. So moral to the story with this one, or I guess, did she ever get that figured out? Like, would they refund that shit, or was she just stuck with a bunch of shit?
She couldn't take it back, because she didn't remember making the purchase in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some issue with that. I didn't ask too many questions.
Like,
somebody who stays up for 3 days is not really somebody that you want to be asking all kind of questions to.
That's fair.
So we cleaned out her. She had moved out of her other sister's house, and we had cleaned out her bedroom that she had, and we found all the shit that she had ordered. She just had it stowed away. A lot of it had never been open. Like the ear digger things. Those were still brand new. They came with like 20 of the little, I don't know, silicone heads that you put in your ear, and they had never been used. So I
gotta look that up. I have no idea what the hell that is. That sounds
like I said, it's basically like a wine opening cork,
it looks thing. I mean, it's
that you just stick
smaller
in your ear.
than the actual thing is probably the length of my fingertip to the palm of my hand. and it's got a silicone tip roughly an inch long, and you snap it on there and you dig it into your ear, but you just twist it like a screw. And it's supposed to scrape all the wax out of your ear.
I wonder if that would even be effective because, I mean, like everybody here probably does it and, uses Q-tips, right? You're not supposed to because that can actually push the earwax deeper into your ear. So I wonder if that product would even do the same.
I think to a point it works because it's got the spiral edge like a screw does, so the wax gets stuck on the spiral. But I'm with you. If I'm pushing this thing into my ear, it's going to push the wax down deeper.
No, that's why.
Yeah, and then you won't be able to listen to the One Giant Leap for Geeks podcast.
Right, exactly.
Or anything else in the matter.
That's why you got to do what me and Amber did, is you get that fucking, we did that. I felt so weird doing it and so dumb. And I was like, I feel like some like middle America suburb
Tell
shit.
me you didn't get the candles.
Yep. We did the candle ear thing.
No.
Which actually it worked really well. I did not realize how much fucking wax was in my ears because that shit was like black when they pulled it out. I was like, oh god, it was fucking gross as shit. But my ears have never felt so clean. We only did it the once, and this was like months ago, but it works. I mean, it does work. It's weird and it's odd to just sit there with something burning over your head while you're laying to the side, but yeah, it does work.
I can't do it. Nope. I have issues with my ears, and they're constantly itching and draining and whatnot, but I ain't sticking a candle in my ear. Nope.
It's not so bad.
Nope, not doing it. Not doing it.
See, it sounds like it might work, but there's a fetish in there somewhere. I don't want to get
No shit, right?
Right. Like I feel that somehow you're getting erect from doing this. I'm not sure why, but I feel like you're hard right now.
Oh. That's another
God.
thing I'll never
Yeah.
do. Them sex candles, not for me. Mm-mm.
Oh, no. Well, say a little candle wax ain't never hurt nobody. It burns for like a second. You'll be fine. I was like, you might have like a welt for like a day, but you'll be all right.
Learning some.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, pretty much.
I want to say learning some things, Mike. Learning some things, man.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, just like in the food and shit. No. No, I was going to make just a horrible, just disgusting joke. Nope. Go ahead. Finish.
The Fruit Loops video is the only thing that comes to mind.
I don't.
No,
I don't even want to know what that is. I don't even want to know.
God,
I don't want to know.
I did not tell you. How did I not tell you? Ben, have you seen the Fruit Loops video?
I don't know about. Probably not, because no, don't rule 34 Fruit Loops, please, God.
For the love of God, if anybody's listening to this, do not Google Fruit Loops.
They're gonna do it because you've made a thing
I know.
You pretty much have basically guaranteed that anyone who hears this is gonna go look.
Anybody under 18, please do not go look this
God.
up. Anybody who likes Fruit Loops and or any other cereal, please do not go look this up. It is gonna make your stomach turn, or you might be into it. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, every time I walk down the cereal line in Kroger, I'm gonna feel weird. I don't.
No, you're gonna feel weird if you've seen that video and then you go to try to walk down the cereal aisle and you're gonna be like, oh.
The things that are going through my mind of what it could be. Don't.
I'm not gonna say it on air.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, now we sound like we write animes.
I know exactly. Right.
Look, I will just.
The Russians are gonna hate us.
Yeah, well. Nah, what else is new? I will just put it this way. It was not something that I stumbled upon. It was sent to me via a group chat and did not have not safe for work labeled on it. So I clicked on it while I was at work. Thank God my client was sleeping. That's all I can say. And with that note, we are going to remind you that Dumb Shit of the Week is your show. So please send us in your submissions. Every week we'll compile them, read them, and shout out to you for sending it. Please keep them coming. You can send it to us on Twitter at GiantLeap4Geeks or email it to us at officialoglfg@gmail.com.
We have finally Finally, because I feel like they've been talking about this movie. I know, right? I feel like they've been talking about this movie for like the last 3 years, and I'm like, can we see something from this besides like set photos that some dude took in the bushes or some shit? Like, I actually want to see,
Right.
you know, like a production photo, like, hey, this is what we're making. But we finally got our first look at Captain Marvel in all her glory, and it is actually pretty goddamn good. Like, they pretty much ripped her like from the comic books. Like, I was surprised at how well it came out. So I'm getting this from Entertainment Weekly because obviously the cover and that, you know, issue had a lot of information on the movie, and they talked to the directors and stuff like that. So they say it's giving Carol a place in the cinematic universe that she can carve out for her own, where she wasn't one heroine out of many, executive producer Jonathan Schwartz explains. Basically, this movie's going to be taking place in the 90s. It's going to be a period piece, almost kind of like Captain America: The First Avenger was. And it's going to be connecting directly into the next Avengers movie because she's going to show up in that as well.
Sure.
So the events of this are going to tie directly into that, and we'll see why Sam Jackson or Nick Fury, he's just Sam Jackson. I don't care what character he's playing. He's just Sam Jackson. Why he pages her at the very end of Infinity War, because it's like that's who he's calling at the end. So it's like, you know, now we'll get to see why she's such a big deal in this movie. But they go on to say that 90s action movies is not the worst reference in the world, especially when you start looking at RoboCop, Total Recall, even Starship Troopers a little bit. Schwartz says Terminator 2, Independence Day, they are high concept action movies that feel. Jesus, I fucked it up. There's a high concept action movie feel there that ends up being very character based, but also super badass, which is kind of the bullseye we wanted to hit. So, from how he explains it, it seems like they're going to kind of harken back to like the really cool action movies of the 90s and shit.
I'd be down with that.
Which, if you name drop Terminator and you're comparing it to your movie Terminator 2 especially, I'm like, okay, I'm sold. Like, I don't know what's happening with this, but I want to see it. Like, I'm sold, because Terminator 2 is, if not the one of, in my opinion.
Alone in that opinion, there are quite a few people that Terminator 2 is their shit right there.
Oh, so. Yeah. Like, Arnold was at his, like, prime Arnoldness in that movie. Like, Terminator 2 is, it's glorious.
I love the cover, though.
Oh, yeah.
That cover is, I'm not one to buy the magazines, but that could, be in my shelf sometime soon, because that cover is badass.
Yeah, no, I
mean, like the Wonder Woman pose that, that Wonder Woman poster that she had, that really cool one where she's holding the sword. And,
Yeah, she has her shield on the side and shit. Like this is cool, and they're even showing like a little bit of her powers in the cover too. Like her hands are glowing, and there's like energy and shit like that going through it. Because she, from what Kevin Feige explains, she is going to be the most powerful Marvel character we've seen so far to date. So even more so than Thor and the Hulk and shit like that. So that's kind of why it's such a big deal that they're getting her in, because it's like, Thanos has the full Infinity Gauntlet now and everything else. So it's like they need to bring out the big guns, because Hulk's being a bitch. So it's like, hey, we gotta do something to balance the scales, so to speak. But yeah, no, because
I love how the big gun is a woman, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That's inspiring. Oh
yeah, no, for sure. Her character is very like in your face and like does not mince words. Like she is not. She won't be a Black Widow. She won't be a Gamora or something like that.
No,
she's gonna be her own thing.
She's gonna be a Tony Stark.
Probably like a mix of Tony and Steve together, kind of like, that kind of in your face attitude of, Tony, but then still kind of humble and has like values like Steve. So, I think that it could be like a good blend. But the biggest thing that most people are excited about is because we actually get to see her in her full-on costume and it's not green.
Right.
Because, like, from the set photos we saw, it was, like, green and it looked kind of
yeah,
baggy.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it didn't fit on her right. And it was just like, ugh, like, this is the...
I remember that, yeah.
This is the Captain Marvel movie? Like, I guess. But this, it looks like it fits her well.
Yes,
like, the colors look good. Like, and I really like her hair and shit. She kind of has that 90s Rachel from Friends haircut.
Yes.
but I mean, that's what they're going for, though. It does
it.
take place in the 90s, so I get that. Now, one of the surprising things about this is that we're going to be catching up with some characters that we have not seen in quite some time, actually. So, in Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm going to fuck this guy's name up. Djimon Hounsou, I think is how you say his name. He's
sure,
the dude.
We'll go with that.
He's the dude from that Steven Spielberg movie about the slave ship. What was it called? Fucking hell, I can't think of the name of that movie right now. I want to say it's somewhat an A. I want to say.
Oh yeah, that narrows it down.
Yeah, I know, right. Well, anyway, the whole point is he plays the guy in Guardians of the Galaxy who doesn't know who Star-Lord is.
Okay.
When he's like, I'm Star-Lord, and he's like, who? Like that dude. Djimon Hounsou.
God.
And his character gets killed by the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy by Drax. He is in this as well, and he's a good guy in this. He's a part of the team that Carol Danvers is on.
Mm-hmm.
And Ronan the Accuser, the villain from the first Guardians of the Galaxy, is also in this as well. Because that's Djimon in the background there,
right.
and then that's Ronan right here. And he, I guess, will be a good guy at this point because he becomes like an extremist fanatic and shit and goes bad by the time we see him in Guardians, but he didn't start out that way.
Okay.
So maybe we'll kind of see like how they got to the point that they do. Because the whole thing is they're having a intergalactic war with the Skrulls, who are this shape-shifting alien, thing that she's going to be fighting in this movie,
mm-hmm.
and he's part of the Kree, and it's this whole thing. But I'm glad to see that these characters who kind of felt like they were small bit parts and kind of got shafted in Guardians,
mm-hmm.
like they were finding a way to bring them back. Because Marvel's going to be going into more space shit going forward. Like after Thanos comes, like you can't really just go back to Tony Stark in his, garage building suits and shit. Like you kind of
got to take it up a notch.
Right. The stakes have been up to the point where it's like, yeah, we're fighting,
like Earth is great, but
Right. We're fighting big purple men with ball sack chins and shit. Like you have
He's a ball chinian.
Yeah.
Well, that actually brings up a point I want to make. Like,
that
is it going
is
to
a
end
good
up like
point.
the
That is
Dragon
an
Ball
excellent
series,
point.
where the power skills
they have to kind of set a
like how strong is the
ceiling
strongest
for some of these characters because, like
Sure.
you said, but so far, I mean, to be fair, Marvel has done a good job of introducing more powerful characters, but our heroes don't necessarily become more powerful. They just find different ways to defeat the characters. Because, like, for example, in Infinity War, Thanos is the most strongest person they've come up against, and they just lose. Right. It's like they can't beat him. So that's why Captain Marvel's coming in, because they're like, we need help. Like, we can't, beat him just as we are now.
We need a superhero for our superheroes.
Pretty fucking much, yeah. So I'm interested to see how that's going to work, especially because they've killed off half the goddamn Avengers and shit. So, like, Black Panther and Groot and all them, they're all gone. So it's like, well, fuck. Like, they killed fucking Spider-Man, man.
He's still on that.
I'm never going to let that go. It was a good scene. It was well acted. It was very emotional, but I'm not happy about that. You brought him back for 2 movies and then immediately killed him.
Well, like, just wait for Avengers 4.
Yeah, they're all going to
Captain
come back,
Marvel's going to bring everybody back.
I'm sure. This isn't going to stay permanent. Like we had said when we reviewed it, like Black Panther made $1 billion fucking dollars. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, like Black Panther just made $1 billion earlier. This year they're not.
Where the bad guy just wins.
They're not going to kill him off. There's no way in fucking hell that's going to stick. No. But in one of the other photos, we get a better look at Jude Law's character, which he has still yet to be named.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be Captain Marvel, who is the person who she takes the mantle of Captain Marvel from.
Sure.
And she actually gets her powers from him, I believe, in the comics as well. But they seem to kind of be changing her origin story a bit. But she is still a fighter pilot in this. She is still human to some degree, but I guess she's half human, half Kree in this. So, like I said, they're kind of tweaking some stuff and changing it, but we'll see. Ben Mendelsohn, he's playing the villain in this. He's going to be a shape-shifting Skrull. And I'm really excited that they're bringing the Skrulls into this because in the comics, there's this storyline called Secret Invasion where the Skrulls have invaded Earth like a while ago, and a lot of your favorite heroes, you come to find out, are actually aliens, and they have just shapeshifted to look like these people. So like Captain America was one, Tony was one, Spider-Man was one. So they killed the real versions of them and then just took on their identities and have been pretending to be these people for years. And then they finally come, they're like sleeper cell soldiers and shit, and they get activated and then they go off and do their thing. And it's just like a lot of the events that had happened in the comics up to that point, it was like, that was never really Peter. Like, he was dead that whole time.
Yeah.
And somebody was, mimicking him and pretending to be him this whole time. So I'm curious if they're ever going to play that up in the movies. I mean, hopefully they don't do that in this.
Right.
Obviously, there's going to be shapeshifters and shit, but I think the fact that they have put them in the MCU, the Skrulls, the fact that they've put them into the MCU, I think means that that's the direction we're going to be going in the future.
Possibly. Because
I got a feeling that we're going to find out that Tony is a Skrull. Like, he died at some point, and he's been a secret alien this whole time. I'm telling you,
Pepper's having an alien baby.
Probably, because as well, too, now that they've bought Fox, they have their full library of characters that were related to other things. Besides Spider-Man and his rogues gallery.
Right.
So now they can do a lot of these storylines from the comics that they couldn't do from before because of rights issues and who had what and all that bullshit.
I love this picture of the Skrulls that you had sent to us. They really... I don't know if this was intentional or if it just happened to be that that's how they did the Skrulls, but they look like the vampires from Buffy.
Kinda. I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing, but kinda. I know what you mean.
Well, I mean, if you're shooting back to stuff in the 90s, that's a cool
little nod.
Cool little nod there, I guess, for us Buffy geeks.
I'm not gonna lie, of all the images we've seen from this, the one thing that bothers me is they kind of remind me of Piccolo from the Dragon Ball Evolution movie. I swear to God, they look like Piccolo from that, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, they do.
Now Marvel is good about, enhancing stuff. Like it may not look the greatest when you see pictures of it, but when you actually see it in motion,
right?
Like they do little like extra CG shit on Iron Man's suit to make it look more clean and crisp and shit like that. So hopefully they'll have some little extra stuff in there to kind of make it look a little bit better, because right now they kind of look like they're cosplaying a little bit to me. It's because it's practical makeup and they're not just all CG characters. So it's like, I get it, it's whatever, but I'm excited to just see what the possibilities are now that they're introducing them into the MCU.
Oh yeah, I want to see where this is gonna go.
Oh yeah, and plus just in general, like I want to see Carol get her due, and she's been talked about for so long, and they've been building up her character so much in the comics that I'm excited to see what they do with her on screen, because that's one thing that Marvel does do, is that they don't just verbatim copy the characters.
Right.
They kind of tweak them a little bit. Their personalities get tweaked some and stuff like this, because Tony in the movies is not necessarily Tony from the comics. Tony from the comics became more like Tony from the movies once it became popular.
Once the movies got up and running.
Yeah, and the biggest thing from all this, though, is the de-age Samuel L. Jackson. Like, that is like...
That's like Jurassic Park Sam Jackson.
Yes,
right
that is like Jurassic Park Pulp Fiction era fucking Sam Jackson. I was like... I'm telling you, I made that joke before when we talked about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Dave Bautista, you better shut your fucking mouth, threatening to quit Disney and shit, because they can just CG your ass and nobody would ever know you were never in the movie. Like, the de-aging that they did on Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War, on Michelle Pfeiffer and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and now Sam Jackson in this, I'm like, they're getting to the point where I don't even think they're even going to need the actors anymore. They'll just like kind of pay you up front to just scan your face and shit, and then they'll just give you some voiceover money, and you can just stay home. You can probably do the whole fucking movie over Skype and just collect
They're just
a paycheck.
gonna pick and choose.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I think there's going to be now. They say
didn't the studio kind of do that with
for Star Wars Episode 9,
Princess
like
Leia,
we're just
Carrie
using
Fisher
footage
after
that we
she
didn't use
passed
from
away.
Episode 8. But I'm like, I feel like some of that's going to be CG.
Probably so.
Now they definitely did do that for Rogue One when that came out, because that's supposed to take place right before the first Star Wars movie, not the prequels, but the original A New Hope Star Wars. And yeah, and she pops up in that for a second, and she's de-aged in that, and it looked really good. Like it's
between.
I mean, I don't know why some studios and like special effects houses have issues, rendering shit, but then you watch a lot of Marvel and Disney movies, and it's like, god damn, like the special effects on this. I mean, maybe it's just money.
I want to say it's that
and
mouse.
time. Yeah,
mouse.
I'm not gonna do the mouse voice. I love doing the mouse voice, but I have to go so high, it fucking hurts.
You can do it. I have faith in you.
But no, the mouse, the House of Mouse.
Yes.
They have the money to spend on this kind of shit, and I don't want to see Disney monopolize everything, but at this point, it's like until they really just fuck up and have a bunch in a row, I mean, I'm kind of not all that pissed off. It's like they keep giving me content that I enjoy, so I mean, I can't really complain. Like, okay, like let's do it up, Jeezy. Like just keep like buy Warner Brothers. If Disney could have Batman,
oh my god,
that would be the craziest shit ever. That would be dope. That would be dope. I would pay good money to see.
Don't they have a video
Batman
game that's
versus-
DC versus Marvel?
This is mixed Marvel
I think
and
you're thinking
DC
Marvel
together.
versus Capcom,
just for
and
one
then
film.
there's like DC versus some other. There has been comic runs where DC and Marvel.
Maybe that's
fought
what I'm
each
thinking
other.
of. Maybe I'm thinking of comics.
So
not
that is a
games.
thing. But no, I would pay good money to see Thor and Superman go at it. Like that would be dope as shit.
Oh man.
But it'll never fucking happen unless the mouse just comes in and be like, I'm just gonna take this off your hands, Warner Brothers. Like y'all ain't been treating these characters right for the last few decades, so we're just gonna get this off. Let me just take this off you.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so my excitement level has increased tenfold, so to speak, for Captain Marvel.
Photos come out.
Yep. The one thing I will bitch about, because I always got to bitch about something. the one thing I am gonna bitch about is she doesn't have her sash. Like she has like a cloth belt type thing that kind of hangs off her side, and in the comics they it's always a cool visual thing, but they kind of axed it for the movie, I guess. I mean, it was like her cape pretty much, and it was
maybe
like,
she'll have it at some point,
or she'll just rip off a curtain and tie it around her waist, and be like, hey, there we go. It could happen.
Never count anything out in a Marvel movie.
That's true. I wouldn't like that, but it might happen. It's a possibility, at least. But anyway, that's it for that. I just wanted to gush over how cool it looked and how excited I am for Carol Danvers to finally be popping up. But anyway, moving on, we have okay. We have an issue.
You might as well just chop it off. Let's go.
I'm trying.
You didn't look up Fruit Loops, did you?
No, I know, right? No. We have a problem. They are making a 6th Die Hard movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it's gonna be now. At first, it was called Die Hard Year One, which it's gonna be a prequel-ish movie. The face DJ Mellibell's making at me right now. She's like, ugh, like what the fuck? I know. No, it was gonna be called Die Hard Year One, but then they changed it, and now it's gonna be just called McClane.
Okay, I like the title better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too. Now, from what it's been said about it so far is basically they're taking the current day, like 60 some odd year old Bruce Willis, and he will have a parallel story to the younger version of himself. And so it's not like they're just going to completely get rid of Bruce Willis. He's still going to be in the movie, but it's going to be like a flashback, like a shared story between the two versions. I'm getting this from Screen Rant. It says, it's been known for some time that the story would be a split narrative. That's the way it's a split narrative. With modern day John McClane investigating a case from his past with another actor playing young McClane. Live Free or Die Hard director Len Wiseman has been developing the script for a while, which has gone under the working title Die Hard Year One, but in a new interview with Empire producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, I've probably fucked that up.
No, actually, you were pretty close on that.
Oh, thank you. Confirms the title will be simply McClane. It says some reports suggested the split narrative would focus more on the young version of McClane, but the producer also confirmed Bruce Willis will play a large role in the story. He says, I don't think you can do Die Hard without Bruce. The idea that he's not very significant in this movie is not accurate at all. We are going to explore John McClane in his 20s, but just as prominent is the 60-year-old version. McClane has been in development for a number of years now, with Wiseman himself recently stating he chose to take time to develop a solid script after he faced story issues during the rush production of Live Free or Die Hard back in 2007. Fans are still skeptical about the premise of the project. However, in the idea, the character needs an origin story.
It kind of sounds pretty cool. Like, honestly, now that I've heard a little bit about it,
sure.
My face has definitely come back to normal. McClane is probably, we all grew up on John McClane and Die Hard. And I think that's a cool idea if it was done correctly. Now, who do they think that they want to play the young John McClane?
I don't think that they have anyone nailed down just yet.
Okay.
But I have my own personal pick.
Okay.
So have you seen Looper?
No.
Ben?
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays a young Bruce Willis in that movie, and I don't mean he plays a young Bruce Willis. He becomes Bruce Willis, like all the way down to the point where like they give him contacts so they have the same color eyes. He has like a prosthetic like nose that looks more like Bruce Willis's nose, because Bruce Willis kind of has like a curved nose, like Bridget's nose, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is more straight.
Right.
And the mannerisms and even the cadence in his voice, like he does an incredible Bruce Willis impersonation. Like it is so fucking good.
I'm going to have to watch this movie because, like...
It's about time travel and shit. That's why,
Okay,
So, like, the older version
I
meets
kind of
him.
figured it was a time travel thing.
So, if I have a say... Now, granted, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like, I'm not going to play fucking Bruce Willis twice. Like, in a completely different movie. Like, I'm not going to get stuck. Like, hey, we need a young Bruce Willis. Go get Joseph Gordon-Levitt again. Like, I actually am an actor, and I do other shit besides, Third Rock from the Sun and Bruce Willis impersonations. But
I forgot he was in.
Yeah, I know. That's how I know him. So when he started popping up in movies, I was like, "Hey, that's the kid from Third Rock from the Sun."
I never watched Third Rock from the Sun, so I recognize him from 10 Things I Hate About You.
The Angels have won the pennant. The Angels have won the pennant.
You know what's so funny is that isn't Heath Ledger in that too?
In 10 Things I Hate
About You.
10
Things I Hate About You.
Yeah, there's a meme that goes around Facebook. I see it every once in a while. It says, when you hit the realization that
the Joker.
Dick Grayson and the Joker went to school together.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
That's actually really cool. Damn, that is I forgot he was in that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was singing that Janie's Got a Gun to what's her face in that film. Why do I remember this film so well?
Because it's a good movie. But I think you're off on the song.
I know I'm confusing that with the teen
parody of that. Yeah, not another teen movie.
I would say
but he sang something to her.
He sings her the Warner Brothers Frog song where he's like, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Yeah.
I love you, baby."
That's fucking funny.
There we go.
But yeah, so I mean, okay, if they did, if they do make this movie and it comes out, regardless of who they cast as, young John McClane, if this does well and they make another one, do you think that they could eventually phase Bruce out? Or do you think that there is no Die Hard without Bruce Willis?
You can't have Die Hard without Bruce
There
Willis.
there is no Die Hard without Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is Die Hard.
That's
and
fair.
I mean, there's no, you can't phase him out. Even if
Oh.
they're gonna try that, what would be 7th one
Mm-hmm.
that they would try would flop as hard as the 5th one did.
Yeah. The 4th and 5th one are not good.
I like Live Free Die Hard,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
that 5th one,
Wait, is that the one where he jumps on a fucking jet plane? Is that Live Free or Die Hard? No.
he hits the plane with, or the helicopter with the car.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's got
Yeah.
Justin Long in it and the
that's
daughter.
The one where he somehow ramps a car into a helicopter. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
yeah, it's coming out of the tunnel, and it's got the median right there, and
Oh.
so he hits the median, and he throws the car at the helicopter, and the kid's like, "You just threw a car at a helicopter." Yeah, it was out of bullets.
That is, oh, God. Or the part where there's a car flipping towards
Uh-huh.
him, and they duck, and it, like, hits to... Okay. This has been my thing with Die Hard. At every Die Hard movie after with the Vengeance with Sam Jackson, I can't get with, because they basically made John McClane into a superhero after a while, because each progressive movie, it becomes more and more unrealistic
Yeah.
after that, because the whole beauty of Die Hard was that he was a normal guy. Well, he was a cop, sure, but he was in over his head in circumstances that he couldn't control, and he had to face a lot of his fears and keep pressing forward to save, his wife and the other people in the building. In each progressive movie, it was about like this, blue collar cop who is in these like just big, overly, extravagant situations where it's like this crazy Rube Goldberg machine of plots going on, and he's just some guy, trying to stop it. He's always like at the wrong place at the wrong time type shit. But by the time we get to Die Hard 4 and 5, it's like he's jumping off of fucking skyscrapers and okay, is the 5th one the one where they fall through like 20 floors and shit into a pool? And
I believe that's the one with his son.
Yeah,
His son fall through the floor.
Yeah.
And that's the one where he jumps on the fucking jet and shit. Yeah. And then the one before that, he's launching cars and the helicopters and all this crazy shit. And it's just like, okay, he shoots himself in the 4th one to kill the villain.
Yes, he does.
And I was just like, okay, this is not John McClane anymore. Like, this is just a whole different character. I don't know who this is. Like, granted, yes, in the original Die Hard, he does jump off the Nakatomi building with a fucking fire hose wrapped around his waist. Yes, that's stupid, but he's like hurt and really fucked up after that scene. And for the rest of the movie after that, he has like glass all in his feet and all this shit. Like, he gets fucked up and it hurts him. In 4 and 5, it's just like he just gets up and just keeps on running. And
Well,
it's like, what is this?
Until the
Yeah,
end.
he just no-sells that.
Yeah. Until the end when he shoots himself, and then you can tell he's hurting.
Well, I think, at that point, it was like, it's the end of the movie. We
The
can let him be
daughter
hurt
runs
now.
over to him. Dad, you shot yourself. Yeah, don't tell them that. He's got like, blood coming out of his shoulder, and he's limping and dragging his foot, and he's all leaning on the daughter, and
Yeah, and I think by the 5th one, too, I think they were already trying to phase him out.
That 5th
Because
one.
I think that's why they brought the son in.
Yeah.
It was like he was going to take up the mantle of, you are the new Die Hard.
that 5th one is garbage.
Yeah, man.
Like, they got the crazy Russians chasing them, and
Well, you got to be honest though. None of the sequels would ever compare to the greatest Christmas film of all.
That is fair. That is fair.
I hate when
That is-
people
I mean,
say
you
that.
had-
I know that's my favorite Christmas movie.
I hate when people say that.
I'm one of those people who is like, what's your
You
favorite Christmas movie, Die?
Had Bruce Willis, you had Carl Winslow, you had
Yes.
Hans Gruber.
Yes. Oh, yes, the great Professor Snape. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
how can you go wrong? I mean, you had like an all-star cast.
I
and shit.
like that whole American accent that he tried to pull. That was top-notch acting.
Oh,
right there.
yeah. He is that actor? He's dead now, right?
Yes, he
damn.
died.
You had the black guy from Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
Clarence
Alan
Gilbert.
Rickman, that's his name. Hans
Snape.
Gruber.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Rickman. That's his
Clarence Gilbert is Trevette from Walker.
Oh yeah.
name. Holy shit,
Wasn't
you
he
know his
also,
name and everything.
Matlock? No, he wasn't on Matt.
No, he
Was
was
he
not
on
Matlock.
for a minute?
No, it was Murder, She Wrote. Is what
Murder,
you're
She
thinking. No,
Wrote.
I'm kidding.
Really?
I don't know. I just feel like those shows are in the same vein in my eyes. Murder, She Wrote and Walker, Texas Ranger could have been like
I watched
a
a
fucking
lot of
double
Walker
feature.
as a kid. I was really, really nerdy, and I used to think that.
You say that in the past tense.
Oh no! He was on Matlock.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. He called you out on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Matlock was a little before my time, so excuse the fumble there.
That's
like,
okay. I'll pick the
just
ball up and keep running with it.
Like, I'm just a small town Southern lord. I may not know much about. That was like a running gag at work for a while. Like I was just like, every time something would happen, it's like, well, I may not know much about such and such. Yeah. Anyway, Matlock.
But I love my hot dogs.
Right.
Oh my god.
Right. I may not know much about Fruit Loop pornography, but
oh my god.
Oh god. Yeah, we got to stop going back to that because she's gonna want to tell that story. But yeah, I mean, there's no big news on it besides the fact that they're making it, they have a name for it, and it's supposedly in the works. Which, Glass is coming out soon, and we're gonna see Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson in that. So if they do make Die Hard 6, they have to find a way to bring Sam Jackson's character back from 3. Because 1 and 3 are the best, in my opinion. 2 is shit to me. 2, 4, and 5 are not good. See, 2 is so bad, I bet you don't even remember the plot to 2.
Yeah.
It's at the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. Okay.
Hans's brother comes back for revenge.
That's 3.
No, that's Vengeance. That's Die Hard with a Vengeance.
That's 3.
Yes, you're right.
That's 3. Yeah. Because he comes back in 3.
Mm-hmm.
2 is a whole other thing. Like I said, real quick behind the scenes thing, the Die Hard movies are actually other movies that they kind of retrofitted to become Die Hard. Like, they literally, it was a script. Like, even the original Die Hard, that movie was actually, I think that Frank Sinatra, they wanted to play John McClane when they originally were coming up with that the idea for that, but I think he turned it down. I could be wrong on the actor, but I'm pretty sure it was Frank Sinatra. But each Die Hard movie after that, it was never a Die Hard movie. They just made it into a Die Hard movie, kind of like 10 Cloverfield Lane. That was not supposed to be a Cloverfield movie. Not Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah,
Cloverfield Lane.
I know.
That was not in Paradox neither. But they reworked it to make it fit into that. But it was just this story about a guy who took a woman into his cellar and was doing all this crazy shit.
They should have just left it at that.
Yeah, they should have.
Because the first, 89 minutes of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, how long is that movie?
I'm not sure. But yeah, it's like a suspense thriller for like the first 3/4
stick with
of it.
What I got here. First 89 minutes of that movie, I'm like, ooh, this is a real good movie. John Goodman's a crazy asshole. All right, I got this. The last minute and a half, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it becomes like a whole other movie, and you're like, okay.
And then, at first you're just like, okay, he's just a crazy conspiracy theorist. And then she steps outside, and there really is these giant-ass aliens, and you're like, the fuck did that come from?
Well, I mean, they did set it up. I mean, because he wasn't lying to her. I mean, he was crazy, too, but there was truth to what he was saying. But even then, when they revealed
I kept looking at him like I wanted him just to be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want any of that to be true. I wanted him just to be...
Look, the movie was called 10 Cloverfield Lane. There was no way he wasn't going to be lying.
See, I didn't make the connection, though.
Oh,
We've talked about that.
Yeah, I knew from the get-go,
I just kind of thought that it was
that was just the name of the street.
Right. That was just the name of the street name or something.
It didn't mean anything that it was called Cloverfield.
No, it didn't make a connection until we had actually watched Paradox, and you said that there was a part 2, and I'm like, okay. And then you told me it was 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I was like, oh hell.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, no. Each Die Hard movie was just kind of a script for a movie, and they were like, "We can make this Die Hard." So they tweaked it and changed some stuff about it. So that's why each movie feels so different from the last one, because they're not a through line story. They weren't like, "Oh, we need to make a sequel to this." They were just like, "Hey, this is a good action movie, but not quite good enough to where a studio will buy it. Let's rework it, make it Die Hard, and there you go."
Right.
But yes, no, 1 and 3 are my favorites because the Gruber brothers are in 1 and 3.
2 was the hijackers.
Yes, yeah.
At the airport.
Yep, they hijacked the plane, and the wife was on the plane with the reporter guy that she punches.
Yep, from the first one. Yep.
And then it ended up that they land at the airport.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's basically the whole premise. They're fighting on this airport.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not terrible, but it's not as good as 1 or 3. Like, and I mean, honestly, I think 3, I love it as much as I do, is because I just love watching Bruce Willis and Sam Jackson banter back and forth. Like, that was like the best parts of that movie, was just them talking shit at each other.
I agree. The taxi cab scene is probably my favorite.
Yeah. No. He says, because okay, Sam Jackson's character, they keep saying like, "Hey Zeus," this that, and the other, and he calls him Hey Zeus, and he's like, "Do I look Mexican to you or something like that?" He was like, "Hey Zeus, that's your name." He's like, "No, Hey Zeus, like I'll put a lightning bolt in your ass if you fuck with me, Zeus." I was like, I love Sam Jackson. I was like, yes, but anyway. I don't want this to happen. If there is a want for it, it's gonna come out, and maybe they'll just do some de-aging shit on Bruce Willis, and then they'll just take his corpse like Weekend at Bernie's and just prop him up, and he'll be
oh my God.
in Die Hard 9. I say it like he's like
marionette his ass through every scene.
Exactly.
Stop motion.
Yes. I say it like he's like dead or something. I'm like, he's older, but he's not on his deathbed or anything. I don't know.
No, he still looks pretty good for his age.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean,
he was just in that Death Wish movie.
Yep.
Beginning of this year.
Yep. And then he's gonna be in Glass coming up here too.
Yeah. He doesn't look bad for 60-something-year-old man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's like, still get these bitches.
Probably so.
Oh yeah. Talk about the gaming industry and how it's been doing this year.
You mean we're not ending the show on a sad
I know, right?
Note?
No one's dead. No one got,
Well, I did
nothing
have
political.
a comment to make, but I don't think I'm going to.
Okay. All right. Don't bring down my high.
No. We're gonna
like
don't
kill
that.
my good vibes.
Because by the time we're just not gonna go there.
Okay. All right. See, don't do this, because you're going to plant a seed in someone's mind, and all they're going to think is, now I want to know what she was going to say.
If anybody wants to know what I was going to say,
right, hit her up on Twitter.
Yep, you can hit me up on Twitter at FroggyBeaver, and I will tell you. It may take me a couple days to get to you, but I promise I will get back to you.
The secret topic of the week.
Yes.
There you go. We'd be like Philip DeFranco. You have like the secret link of the day. This is the secret topic of the week. There you go. But I'm getting this from tomshardware.com. And I swear to God, this is a real website.
My Ethernet cable's not working.
Right.
I know that website.
Right. I did not make this shit up. This is a legit website.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I know. It threw me off too when I read it. I was like,
the industry is booming. We're not going to go from Bloomberg or CNBC. We're going to Tom's Hardware.
Hell yeah. Right, your trusted news source.
Oh God.
We're going to talk to Bob Vila about video games.
Right, pretty much. Yeah. Your local mom and pop store. Yeah.
Oh.
But they
brought to you by this old
house. Oh, my cheeks are. Oh, okay.
That's where all the damn funding for PBS went. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Tom's Hardware.
.com. They said, hey, building websites ain't cheap. I was like, well, if you had a fucking damn it, see
GoDaddy.com.
No. Fuck GoDaddy. No. What is the one where you're always seeing ads for it for make your own website?
Nowadays? No. GeoCities.
GeoCities, yeah.
Homestead.
But no, they say that the NPD Group, market, or is a market research firm. They released a report this week showing Americans have already spent a lot of money on video games in 2018.
Well, duh, 2018 is almost over.
Well, it's not.
Thanks, Obama.
We're right. No, we're not quite in that holiday hump where like you get a lot of big game sales, because like Red Dead Redemption 2, Fallout 76, a lot of this shit's coming out closer to Christmas season. That's when you're going to see like the big spike, especially Black Friday sales and shit,
God,
and
yeah.
like Cyber Monday sales and all that. But anyway, they said that video game revenue from the first half of the year is 43% higher than the first half of 2017.
Well,
in the first 6 months of 2018, the video game industry generated $19.5 billion, and it could be on track to crest $40 billion this year. According to earlier data, this means the U.S. gaming market is on track to see its biggest year since 2010, if not longer. They go on to say, according to the NPD Group's report, Americans spent $16.9 billion on software, which includes games, expansion packs, and purchasable content, such as loot boxes and seasonal passes. Mobile games brought in the lion's share of the revenue and saw the most growth. Candy Crush, of all things, is the big winner in the mobile world, and Roblox, with its 15 million gamers, it is also holding a spot near the top. Meanwhile, a handful of AAA titles also lead the charge. NPD Group singled out Far Cry 5 and God of War as two of the biggest new releases so far this year, while last year's Battle Royale titans, Fortnite and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, are still holding their own thanks to loot box sales. So, especially because now that we have Benoit as a part of the show, like he's big into gaming. Maybe not so much, the AAA titles so much, but what do you think? I wanted to ask you, what do you think is causing this? Like, what do you think is causing gaming?
The boom?
Yeah, the boom that we haven't had in at least almost a decade at this point.
Well, I don't want to name any names, but I heard one guy spent $75 for WWE 16.
right. Like that could.
That's just speculation.
Right.
No, but honestly, the boom in gaming, it's just the culture. People our age grew up with video games. We love video games. It's almost retro in how it's coming back. Not just the games themselves, but the whole culture of gaming, of tech, of nostalgia. Like, for instance, we just got done talking about Die Hard. Die Hard was a film that, might have been a little bit before our time, since it came out in 88, I believe. But
yeah, late 80s.
Yeah. Kids these days love to play video games, and they're starting to get the younger generation into video games as well. People are more inept. Or no, that's probably the poor way to say it. I'm kind of tired, so if I can't articulate this thought, please forgive me. But we're more prone to stay indoors, not socialize as much, and play video games. Mobile games, since everybody has a smartphone nowadays.
Right.
Somebody wants to be able to play a game on the go, which, but you still have your handhelds. You got, your 3DS. Oh, your Nintendo Switch is technically like a portable console, which is nice.
I would say, too, that what is considered a quote-unquote gamer, I think that definition has expanded. Because
sure.
One of the things I don't like about gaming culture is how pretentious gamers can become when it comes to video games.
That is true.
Because they're quick to be like, oh, that's not a real video game. It's like Candy Crush is just as valid of a video game as...
Well, no. Yes, there definitely are some pretentious gamers, but gaming is actually more receptive or more inviting than it ever was before. Yeah. Gaming used to be typically only for those who were considered nerds or antisocial people, but now games have transcended genres, it's transcended generations, given the fact that a lot of younger cats who grew up on in the arcades or on the NES, Atari, whatever, are now old enough to actually produce or develop their own games
and buy those
you mentioned
games.
One game in particular,
right?
Oh yeah, and buy those games at $75 a pop.
right.
Maybe we shouldn't be podcasting. Maybe we ought to be in software. Whatever.
I was thinking that as he was reading the article, I was like, "Damn, 19
point
some odd billion dollars. I'm in the wrong damn business."
But to be fair, though, game designers get paid shit and work horrible hours, and
So what's the difference?
That's fair.
Gaming is a few different things. Gaming is one. It's a way to separate yourself from the world around you and get immersed into something that you actually enjoy. A lot of games now are online or have multiplayer capabilities, so you can still socialize and you got that common ground play.
Sure.
Plus, esports are actually being recognized as a legit athletic form form of competition.
Oh, yeah.
So now you got gamers. What was it I read? One of the most recent. What game was it? Anyway, esports for like League of Legends or something ended up actually getting more people to attend in person than like a football.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're turning these big gaming events into basically big sporting events.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah.
there's like fans and like they have an audience for this shit. It's not just like, oh, the people who are in like the inner gaming circles. Like
Right.
there are like masses of people who are into this shit.
Kids watching kids play video games on YouTube and, setting up the
Oh, well, yeah.
the big
You
purchase.
got the Let's Players.
But no, they have. I know that. Like, I mean, especially like shit like the creation of Twitch and how that's blown up over time, and Discord, and YouTube even made like a subcategory like YouTube gaming and shit like that. So it's becoming more mainstream than I think a lot of people realize. But I think specifically though, for just the money making aspect of it, I think that this is further cementing that mobile games and like add-ons is where the money is. Like the future of like making money in games is loot boxes and season passes and all that shit. People get mad at that shit. They don't like it. They feel like it's pay to play and pay to win. And to some degree, in some situations, like with a lot of EA games and shit, it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, as long as people keep giving them money for it,
they're
not going to stop doing it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm just sorry. It's like, oh, but they don't make single player games anymore and this, that, and the other. It's like, well, the money ain't in single player games unless they can just keep getting you to buy DLC and more additional content.
Right.
But they want you to be playing online against other people in a competitive way, so then they can be like, oh, we got this new gun that we can sell you for the low price of $9.99.
I want to say, if you want single player games, you got to go back to the classics.
Yeah. But to be fair though, the Spider-Man PS4 game is, from what I was reading, is outselling even the God of War on PS3 or I'm sorry, PS4. And what's really cool about that is that game is an exclusive to that console. It's not like, oh, it's on Xbox and everything else. Right. So single player games are not dead, but to be fair, the moment I booted up the game, it was like, oh, there's a DLC for Spider-Man for $25 extra, and I was like, God damn it, you sons of bitches! I didn't get it yet, but I know I probably will. It's gonna happen.
When does payday kick in?
I was gonna say it's gonna happen. I fucking love Spider-Man. I'm all about the webhead, so it's gonna happen. But I mean,
oh yeah, it's an easy way for them to nickel and dime you by releasing something for $60, and they made even more content that they want to get you to pay for extra.
Oh yeah. Later. Yeah. But I think though, that kind of attitude that some gamers have about, what's a real game, what makes a real gamer, this, that, and the other, it's like the industry don't fucking care.
Right.
Honestly, video games, yes, they can be an art form and they can be something artistically creative and you get good content from that. But to be totally honest with you, video game designers are basically drug dealers at this point. No, I'm serious. Like they basically have a set intervals of when you get, prizes and shit like that. You play for so many hours or so many minutes and, you get that hit, you get those endorphins because, hey, you unlocked a thing or you leveled up or something and it keeps you playing. And then it's like, oh, after they give you a taste, it's like, oh, especially for like mobile games and shit.
I would say Candy Crush is bad for that shit.
Well, especially like mobile games in general, like with stuff like that, where it's like, you get a taste of like these little bonus things. And then say, for example, if you play like SimCity, okay, on your phone, you can build stuff at a certain rate. And then once you get leveled up so high, it takes much, much longer for you to build these things. But then they go, oh, it's okay. You can pay for these gems and it'll speed up or it'll instantly do it. And it's like they get you hooked on it. And then that's what gets you to go like, okay, I'm going to start buying into this and giving it money. Because a lot of these free-to-play games make tons of fucking money. Like, you do not have to pay to play Fortnite or PUBG. But they are making buckets of money from add-on shit. Like, that's where the money in gaming is. Like, that's why the price of video games have stayed stagnant for, 30, 40 years? Like, video games have been about $40 to $60 for the last few decades.
Right.
Gamers are very stubborn, and they don't want to pay more than that. But at the same time, they found a way, like Ben said, to nickel and dime you, to get that extra money out of you. Because it's like the technology has upgraded. I'm sure the resources that it takes to make these games and the man hours has gone up. But the price of video games has, for the most part, pretty much stayed the same.
Well, yeah, they got to make their money somehow.
Exactly.
And people who play games might look at okay, I'm going to go to GameStop and I'm going to buy the newest edition of God of War, and it's $65. That's a little steep, but okay, it's a one-time fee.
Mm-hmm.
So you pay the $65, you buy the God of War game, and you get into it so far, and they're like, oh, well, you can get this for $1, or you can get this better deal for $5. And you're sitting there thinking, and you're like, all right, well, I paid $65 for the game. What's $5?
Yeah.
$5 and $5 and $5, and that adds up. And I'm sure some of the more, the bigger expansions, you know, even on the mobile games, on Candy Crush, you've got, the little gem pack is 99 cents, and you get 100 gems or whatever.
Right.
And then, but you can get this one for $9.99, and it's triple what the first one is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you got the big pack, and that's like, you get this bonus and that bonus and that, but it's, you know, $53 or whatever. they have one that's $150 on Candy Crush.
Yeah, but how they do you, like you said, is initially they kind of piecemeal it out, and it's at, you know, low enough prices to where you're like, oh, that's like a burger or something at, you know, McDonald's
what's a
or
buck?
whatever.
I've spent that on a bad something or another.
Yeah, but it's like, so even if you don't go up to like the high end, you know, bonuses, by the time you've bought that thing 3-4 times, it's like you've already spent that money, but they piecemeal it to you to where you don't even realize you're doing it. And I mean, the fact that just the gaming industry in general is not taken more seriously as a industry is baffling to me, especially when they're bringing in money like this. Like they're saying, like you're bringing like $40 billion. Like there's not a ton of other industries that make that kind of money. I don't even think the movie industry is doing the kind of numbers that video games do.
Oh, probably not.
And you know, video games are so accessible to everyone. It doesn't have to be any one type of person. Hey, if you even kind of passively like games, there is a game out there for you. If you want to play some indie stuff, there's games for that. You want to play some more hardcore titles, there's games for that. If you like retro shit, they are making games like the old school platformers and shit like that. So there's an audience, or there's a game for every kind of audience. And then just people like your grandparents and shit who may never pick up a controller in their life. They got mobile games and shit. And it's stuff that's simple enough and has a good enough hook that you don't have to have any kind of skill level or something like that. You don't have to be a Twitch shooter and that kind of shit. Like, and anyone can get into this. That's why I say, like, anybody who even casually plays video games, I consider a gamer. You don't have to be any kind of skill level. You don't have to be good at X, Y, or Z. If you like to play video games, you are a part of the gaming community, in my mind, at least.
Yep.
But, yeah, no, I guess we'll see how the rest of this year goes, because, like I said, I'm curious to see if once Red Dead 2 comes out and everything else, like what happens with, you know, the remainder of the, I guess the gaming boom for this year. I guess we'll see if it actually continues out to, you know, the duration.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we can hit 50 billion before the end of the year. Probably not.
Well, I don't know. Possible.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, you got all them Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday sales and Christmas coming up, and everybody's like, oh, I want that game, and Mama, I need this new system. And I've heard that one from my nephews before last year. Mama, I really need a PlayStation 4. Mama, I really need a PlayStation 4. So they went out and shelled the $400 and got him a PlayStation 4. Oh, well, you know, we gotta get the controllers, and you can't get just one because there's 4 kids here, so we're all gonna fight and argue over the one controller. So, there's another $200 in controllers, and then you gotta have a couple of different games because one likes basketball and one likes shooter games and one likes Batman, and so you gotta get a game that everybody can play. So there's another $200 in games.
And especially if it's a AAA title, then, you know, you give it 12 months and the next one will be coming out and the next one will be coming out. And it's just like, Jesus. So I mean,
By the
yeah.
time it was all said and done, they dropped $1,000 on PlayStation 4 stuff.
Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, hey, I get.
Who are these parents and how can they adopt me?
Right, how can I get in on this?
My sister-in-law, one of them.
Like, how can I get in on this family? But yeah, I mean, any final thoughts about anything that we talked about today that we may not have got to?
No, I don't think so.
No, good.
Yeah, we're.
I bet you about 15 minutes after we end this and I'm in bed, like everything will come to mind that I could have said.
You're gonna wake up in a cold sweat, like, damn it, I should have said that.
He's gonna.
I'm gonna wake up tomorrow like.
I want to say he's gonna be on the Twitter when you post this. He's gonna be like, "This should have been said, and this should have been said, and this should have been said."
He's gonna have like a comment thread of all this shit that's like, and also I wanted to say.
I'm gonna be at work and my Twitter's gonna be blowing up, and more so than what it already does, and it's gonna be like, Ben said this, Ben said that, Ben said this. It's just gonna keep going.
Yes, because I am suddenly the old wise man about this. I am the expert.
The expert
on things that could have been said 15 minutes. I am the retrospective expert.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think that whole Fruit Loops thing fucked you off, threw you off your.
Oh my god, you keep going back.
Oh
to
no,
this.
I was gonna say this is gonna be a running joke now every episode.
Yeah. Full disclosure, it's midnight now, guys. That's why I'm like,
Yeah, our time at least. Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up this Fruit Loop thing now. I have to.
Oh my god.
And it stinks because I'm gonna see Fruit Loops or whatever they call them at Kroger, the generic stuff, and have dirty thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna want to make a beat, open up Fruity Loops, and have dirty thoughts.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like next time I want to make a fat beat, you're gonna ruin it for me.
Oh yeah, fatter than Kardashian's ass.
right.
That
That she
was
apparently
good. That was
doesn't want
good.
no more.
Yeah, well.
No, because it shadows Kanye.
Yeah.
Hold up. I just want to say one thing. Kim Kardashian has the best ass ever.
I was gonna say I'll
Tell her. Hold on.
I'll co-sign that. It's nice. It's very nice. That's why when I saw that, I was like, I call bullshit. Like you wouldn't give that. If you woke up tomorrow with my ass, you would fucking jump out a goddamn window. So,
Aw.
look, like I said, I trade asses with her because, like I said, it would be weird and it'd look weird on me. But if I could make money off it somehow, I would just become an Instagram model just from the waist down and just be like, I'd be one of them chicks that sits on their bathroom sink and like takes like selfies from like the back and shit so you can see my ass. That would be me all day long. I could have a whole career off just that.
That would be weird.
Well, what we need to do is just take videos of ourselves mashing our face into bread. That goes over pretty well.
What?
Is that a thing?
You've never seen that.
Next week
No,
on
there are
Dumb Shit of the Week.
Right. Dumb viral videos or
That's
some
just
shit.
as bad as the turd art.
Yeah. But that chick, she's on to something though. She's unique. I'll give her
No,
props.
she's not.
It's fucking gross.
Poor Ben. That was before he had jumped on our bandwagon here.
Yeah.
Seamus actually
No,
was on that episode.
Yeah, he was on the Turd Art episode.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Seamus that chewed gum as well. But yeah.
Oh man, my virgin eyes.
You looked up the Fruit Loop video, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Oh God.
But if you guys listening are gonna look up the Fruit Loops video, look up Lemon Party 2. That's a throwback.
Oh, I don't want to know.
I don't even want to
I was
know.
gonna say all these things sound terrible.
Sounds like the two girls in a cup or something.
Oh God, I knew it was gonna get brought up at some point. The
No,
longer
it's
we
just
talked about
very
this.
sour and citrusy.
Oh, okay.
And old. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that is it for the show, guys. Remember, you can always find us at our home at onegiantleapforgeeks.libsyn.com, or we are on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, or anywhere else you get your podcast. So make sure to go show us some love. So go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say hi, you can email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter at giantleap4geeks. We're on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram. All you have to do is search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.